Hi guys, Zasmo here, and today I have for you a video about picking up items, what to pick up when you're a beginner, when you don't know yet which items are valuable, which ones aren't, how to make sure that you're not wasting time picking useless garbage, when to pick up certain items, when to stop picking up certain items, and so on. That's what I'm gonna go over in this video. A lot of the videos that I've seen on this subject are quite outdated, or they give information that actually leads to you wasting unnecessary time. They explain all of the niche vendor recipes that nobody ever needs to use, and like very specific examples that rarely happen, but they don't talk about the 90% of what you're gonna be doing, which is like picking up or not picking up the items that appear all the time, right? So that's what we're gonna focus on. And the first thing you're going to need before we just go into the gameplay, and I'm gonna like run through zones and show you what I would pick up and what I wouldn't pick up, we're gonna basically need a loot filter. So to get a loot filter, you need to go to filterblade.xyz. That's the best filter that you can get. You pick from the strictness here on the main page, you pick semi-strict. That's what I would recommend for a beginner. You can select style you want or anything like that, and then you just go to download, you pick whatever name you want for it and you download it, and then once it's downloaded, you put it into this directory in the documents, my games, path of exile. In that directory you put this, and it's going to be like a text file. So that's what you do. And then in game, you don't even have to exit game. In options UI, you will find here list of item filters, and so you can see here I have this semi-strict filter blade. So this is the basic preset that you have. So that's what I recommend if you're a beginner. I have also loot filters on my Patreon. You can find the link to my Patreon in the description, and there are loot filters that are specific for leveling with as a caster, and also a chaos recipe, which I will explain in a moment, and then also like a more strict that you want to switch later in late mapping. But in the beginning, I'll use I'll show the difference between like my filter plus the versus the semi-strict filter blade, because the semi-strict filter blade is what you want to do most of the time. So let's go to the beginning of the game. Part 1 will go to the coast. And I'll basically go through certain areas and show you what I would do in these scenarios, right? So in the coast, early on, you're gonna basically try to pick up items that are necessary. Let me turn down the sound because I'm not sure if it's gonna be too loud. Okay, so what you want to make sure is that you pick up items for every slot, right? So that you have not chest armor, because chest armor will actually slow you down. It has like a hidden like -3 or -6% movement speed. But you want to pick up like a helmet, you want to pick up weapons if you didn't buy them, or if you find something better. And you want to pick up also blue items early on. Early on, you want to pick up blue items because unidentified, you're gonna sell them for transmutation shards, and identified, you're gonna sell them for alteration. So I'll pick up a couple of them just to show you what you're gonna have. And in this case, like you see, this helmet has a green and blue socket. This is something that early on might be useful for many builds, especially if you're playing like a caster. And this is how normal filter shows it. My filter shows it a little bit better because it hides the unnecessary things, and it highlights the things that have the sockets that I would actually find desirable early on, right? So I am not going to miss green, blue if I need that, right? So I'm now on my filter that I run, and it switches depending on like what level zone you're in, right? So the filter will stop showing certain things if you go outside of a certain zone. So early on, even like the basic filter blade will like show you these white items that you find here, but later on in higher level zones it will not show that. So if you're playing like a physical build, you want to pick up, for example, rustic sash. That's something good. You basically want to fill up all of your slots, right? Fill up all of the slots, and that's what you're gonna do early on. Later on, let's go to a slightly higher level zone, and also so we go to like, let's say, the ledge. So early on, you pick up basically, you don't pick up any white items unless they have the exact socket colors connected that you need. So for example, if you find a 3-link blue, blue, red, and you have the gems for that. Let's say you have like a, I don't know, flame, holy flame totem, which is red, and then you can use like added fire, which is red, and then added lightning, which is blue. So red, red, blue. If you find red, red, blue early, and that is something that you want to use, then keep that, right? Keep focus on like getting the right sockets, and then the rest of the blue and yellow items you're gonna sell for shards. So let me go quickly through this zone and show you first what it looks like with the filter. So I see a large mana flask. That will be something useful to pick up early on, because early on mana flasks are very useful. Blue items and yellow items is something that you want to pick up as well, because early transmutation and alteration shards are going to be very helpful, because you're going to be able to craft things like resistances from like level 16 on your crafting bench and so on. So let me show you how it actually looks like. Let me enter the same one and let me show you what we skipped, right? What does the filter skip? So I hold Alt right now, and I see like a random chest armor. I'm not picking up any chest armors early on when I'm playing this early, right? It's gonna have like a skinning knife. This is a caster filter, so it's hiding the skinning knives. It's hiding all of these white items that I will not need, like a random white boots with one socket. Right now I should already have my 3 links. If I am playing here and I'm like level 6, I should have my 3 links, so I don't need blue-green 2 links and things like that. So it's gonna hide all of that. And if you don't have a white item in some slot, it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, all of the weapons that I will never use, because as this character, as a caster, I will only care about ones that are 3 linked, right? That's the only thing. Or like ones that are like also have the right colors, like blue, 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 or blue, blue, green, or green, green, blue. And everything else is hidden. And a good loot filter will do that for you, and it will save you time, and it will save you thinking about what you're supposed to pick up, what you're not supposed to pick up. Because as you can see, like especially when there are more monsters, there are gonna be situations where there are more items. As you can see here, blue, 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 goat's horn. That's a really good wand early on to use for a recipe, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, so I'll pick up this wand, and then we'll craft it in a second, and I'll show you what you can do with that. Chain belt, that's also really nice early on, because early on you don't have a leather belt, and putting something on a belt is useful. There we go, green, green, blue. That's another base one that I could use. Okay, so let's go to town. And early on, picking up these items, I'll show you what you can do with them. So you can do the wand recipe, right? So you can, if you sell these items without identifying them, they give you transmutation shards, which together will combine into a transmutation orb. Something like boots, I would definitely identify, because that can have increased movement speed, which is very valuable. But identified items, as you can see, will sell for alteration shards. 20 of those or 20 of those will give you transmutation or alteration orbs. So let me show you these. You have orb of transmutation, which we have here, orb of alteration, which we have here. And here's what you can do with them early on. If you're a spellcaster, this is especially useful. You can Google vendor recipes and what they are, and check how people do it for melee, but I'll explain it for casters here. So this is a wand that has better base than this, because this will roll anywhere between 8 and 12 increased spell damage on the implicit modifier, and this will roll anywhere between 10 and 14. So this is a slightly better base. And if I find this, and if these are the right colors, then I will first of all make it magic, and it doesn't matter what's on here. Then I will purchase either a ring, like for example this topaz ring, right? I can either purchase a topaz ring, or I can purchase an iron ring, right? Iron ring, and then combine it with a gem of a certain color. So we have red, blue, and green. And then if I sell the iron ring and a green gem, this gives me topaz ring, that's lightning resistance. If I sell it with a blue gem, this gives me a sapphire ring. And if I sell it with a red, this gives me a ruby ring. And depending on which ring I use in the recipe that I'll do in the moment, that's the element that it will add the damage of. So let's say I want to pick, I have like a spare blue gem, and I just want to make the sapphire ring, right? So sapphire ring is useful early on. You can just wear it to fight Merveil in the early acts, or you can also do the recipe, which is where do I have this? Alteration. So you have this magic wand, alteration, and a ring of resistances, and this will give you added cold damage to spells. If you had the lightning ring, it will give you added lightning, and fire ring, it will give you added fire. And that's how you can make a really nice wand early on to start off with, that you can be used from level 8. If the ring is magic, it will add more damage and will be usable since level, I think, 14. And if the ring is rare, it will be usable from level 20. Right, so that's what you want to pick up very, very early on. Let me sell all of that because we don't need it. And then let me go to a little bit of a higher zone and then tell you what do you want to pick up later. So let's go to like Act 2, okay? Let's go to Act 2. Let's go to Chamber of Sins or something. Let me show you what kinds of things do you want to pick up here. So we have to get out of this. Of course, you want to always pick up the essences. My filter shows me blue, blue, green because this is what I want early on. So in case I don't find it from vendors, then I'll be able to get it anyway. Let's see, we're not finding anything that the filter would highlight, but if I turn off the filter, if I press Alt, you'll see a lot of stuff here. I already hide big magic items. My filter hides big magic items because you do want to still pick up magic items to get the alterations and transmutations, but you want to be a little bit efficient. You don't, because these items take so many slots, right? You can see they take 4 by 2, so that's why a good filter will hide those, or you can just manually make sure that you pick up magic and rare jewelry or small weapons like 1 by 3 and so on, right? Like things like 4 by 4, and by 4 by 4 I mean this, right? Like, sorry, 2 by 2, which is 4 squares. This item, if this was magic, is better to pick up than the helmet because you can pick up 2 of those, right? And that way you are more efficient with your space in the inventory. Other than that, you want to of course pick up all the currency items pretty much, and your loot filter should show virtually all currency items that you can drop, and of course they don't drop that often, so in this video I might not be able to see all of them, but obviously if you see items that say like orb of something, right, that's an item that you definitely want to pick up. Other than that, okay, we see rare items. So rare items, you want to pick up the items that you actually going to be wearing, or later on if you're making a chaos recipe, or if you're looking for alteration shards, right? Because alteration shards and transmutations are going to be important early on for buying skill gems. So that's why you want to pick up these items, and then you go to town, and then you're going to be able to sell them. And if you don't know which to identify, which to not identify, generally if you're playing like a build that doesn't have a lot of strength, and you're using spells and you're using mostly blue gems, then this is not a great item to identify. But if this was like a energy shield base that required intelligence and had blue sockets, because intelligence requirement will make it more likely for the item to have blue sockets, then that will be something you want to identify. And if you identify it, you get alteration shards. Rare items, which is the yellow ones, give you a lot of alteration shards, so that's what you want to pick up. And then for alteration shards, you're gonna have alteration orbs, and these are what you use to buy skill gems in Act 2. As you can see, cost 1 orb of alteration. All of these cost 1 alteration in Act 2. In Act 1 they cost Scroll of Wisdom or Orb of Transmutation, and later on in the later acts they cost like Orb of Chance, and I think Orb of Alchemy here maybe as well. We can quickly check in the Sarn encampment. What does Clarissa want for these? Orb of Alteration and then Orb of Chance. Yes, so Orb of Chance is what you need to buy the higher level skill gems. Skill gems I wouldn't bother picking up. My filter doesn't show any skill gems unless they're like really high quality, like 18, 19, 20 quality, or they are skill gems that are only from drop, such as Portal or Empower, Enlighten and Enhance. Other than that, you don't need to pick them up. So let's go to the next zone. Act 4 is where you are going to probably do a lot of your gearing. You're gonna find a lot of rare items. You're gonna find items that have good links. You're gonna be finding 4 links as well, which is very valuable. And your filter definitely should have some kind of a highlight for 4 links so that you never miss one. This filter has a little sound when a 4 link drops so that I can always go back for it and not miss one and have 4 link as early as possible. Other than that, as you can see, it's skipping a lot of things. Like here, these are just like white items and big clunky magic items, so all of that is being skipped. And here, as you can see, it's hiding this, but it's showing a chromatic item, so that's another thing that might be worth picking up. Red, blue, green. Linked up gives you a chromatic orb when you sell it, and then ones are one of the items that I'm interested in, so my filter shows rare ones. My filter actually hides later on rare items that are inefficient to pick up, which means like the big items and items that I would never want to identify. But if you are wondering which rare items you should be picking up, then you should definitely prioritize items that you are actually going to be wearing, like items that have good links and colors. That's what you want to pick up. Items that are bases that are interesting to you. So if you're playing like a ranger and you're using green skill gems and you have a lot of dexterity, you're using dexterity gems, then bases that have evasion bases are something that you want to pick up, right? We got a uniques you can pick up if you identify them. A lot of the time they're not going to be great. They might be nice for leveling, so definitely check them out. But if you sell them, you get alteration shards, which is also something. Alterations are also pretty valuable, especially early on. So that's something that you definitely want to get. What is this? Leather belt. Leather belts, if you don't have a leather belt early on, that's definitely good to pick up, especially if you find a base that has good implicit roll, which means the base health that it gives you, which goes up to 40, and then you can throw an essence on it that gives you a resistance or something, and you can have a really nice belt early on. Other than that, I talked about all the currencies. Flasks, you want to pick up flasks so that you have them up to date, and that's basically it for this part. And then later on, as you pick up rare items that you're looking for, let's say you're looking through your gear and you're like, okay, I have shitty rings, so you're looking for rings, you pick up all the rare rings and identify them until you find something good, right? And focus on that. Don't pick up all the junk, don't pick up items that are rare that you're never going to wear unless you are trying to get alteration orbs, right? Later on, once you get to Blood Aqueducts, basically, this is a monster level 61 zone. Before that, only the Harbor Bridge is level 60. So once you get to Blood Aqueduct, monsters are above level 60. And between level 60 and 74, the items that they drop can be used for Chaos Recipe. So really quickly, I'll show you. My filter highlights them in a different color. As you can see here, they become orange to signify that I can use here, Orb of Chance, that I can use them for Chaos Recipe. So if you have items that are at least item level 62, and you can do that by pressing Alt. If you can't see it, I think you need to go to UI and go to, where is it? Advanced Mod Descriptions, enable this. And then if you press Alt, you can see on these gloves that they are item level 62. If you sell a full set of gear, which means gloves, belt, boots, 2 rings, chest, helmet, amulet, and 2 weapons or a 2-handed weapon, then like a 2-handed melee weapon or a bow and a quiver. If you sell a full set of that are rare items, which is yellow, and are at least level 60 up to 74, then you will get a Chaos Orb from the vendor. And basically, you can start doing this from Blood Aqueducts. You pick up all these items and you can get Orbs of Chaos. If the items are unidentified, then you get 2, right? So if the items are unidentified, you get 2. If you identify them because you're still looking to gear up yourself, then you get 1 Orb of Chaos for selling a full set. So this is a good zone to pick up all of the gear that you need. and get a couple of tabs in your stash and do some chaos recipe early on when you're starting, just to get you rolling, just so that you can maybe buy some items from trade, and that will be very, very helpful. Pick up all the 6 socketed items. They will sell for, I think, 7 jeweler orbs, and that will get you started on like trying to acquire fusings for your first 5 link or 6 link. So that's another thing that you definitely want to pick up. We'll see what else the filter spits out when we kill some more monsters, so that I can talk to you about why you should pick that up. As you can see, a lot of things are not shown, right? Let me go through this. Like a lot of white items, a lot of white crap. Scrolls of Wisdom, I stopped showing at this stage because you can simply start selling transmutation orbs and blacksmith whetstones and armor scraps to get Scrolls of Wisdom, right? This is the sound for a 4-link. Portal Scrolls I still show because you're gonna need them for maps before you get Portal Gem or even forever. 4 links definitely very important to still show, and I think I show like one-handed weapons and then full set of gear rare in this orange color, and also I have like a border for those who are using my filter. If I find an item, actually I can just drop this item. You can see it has green border around it. That means it's evasion base. A red border means a strength base, which will have armor, and then a blue border means energy shield, and then like purple is between red and blue, so that's like armor, energy shield base, and so on. So the border will tell you, like for example, this item has like a teal border, which is between blue and green, because this is energy shield and evasion base, so dexterity and intelligence. And it highlights, it shows in this like turquoise color because this is a what do you call it, chromatic item, right? This is a chromatic item. So that's also another thing you want to pick up. Okay, nice shrine right at the end of the zone. And then let's go maybe into maps. Let me show you like a random map early on also what you want to pick up and how does the filter behave. Let's pick up a random map. Let's pick up Strand or whatever. Let's just hop into it. And at some point you're gonna stop doing the chaos recipe, right? So you want to do chaos recipe early on just to be able to buy like some basic gear, for example. But once you have like basic gear and you can run through maps, then you're not gonna need to do chaos recipe, and you're gonna pretty much remove all rare items from your filter or just stop picking them up. I recommend like as early as you can, once your build is like ready to farm maps decently fast, just remove all rare items pretty much, except for like these special bases that you'll see later on, like special atlas bases like crystal belts, steel rings and things like that, because rare items are pretty much a waste of time to pick up and identify, especially when you're playing on trade. If you're not playing on trade, then you're most likely going to be crafting your items, but if you are playing on trade, then you don't want to pick up rare items because most of the time they're gonna be really, really bad, right? So it's better to just pick them up unidentified and sell them for chaos orbs until you have enough chaos. It depends. You might just need like 50 chaos, which means you do the recipe 25 times or something like that, and that might be enough to get your build started, right? So that's it for picking up items. You'll notice that I didn't mention all kinds of things that people pick up because I think they're a waste of time. I didn't mention recipes like the flask recipe. People pick up like flasks that have certain quality that allow you to get the glass blowers bubbles, right? If you sell quality flasks and then trade enough of them so that they add up to 40 quality, you will get a glass blowers bubble. But it's, in my opinion, not worth doing. And same with like other like weapon qualities, other quality items, because you can simply buy these, right? You can buy these for X8 blacksmith whetstones. You will keep blacksmith whetstones in your filter pretty much forever. They're very useful because they will give you your scrolls of wisdom or portals or bubbles, and also armor scraps. So definitely blacksmith whetstone are worth picking up because they're very, very useful, especially in SSF. Later on you'll just buy them on if you're playing on trade, right? But they're useful early on to pick up. And other than that, most items really are not that valuable. If you're using a good loot filter, then the loot filter will tell you by making a loud sound that you need to pick up that item, and you should basically focus on what your character needs and things that are really valuable. And that means do not like try to gamble on rares. Like pick up rares as you need them, right? Pick up the things that are needed. Like if I'm playing and I'm missing an amulet and I know that I need extra dexterity, then I will pick up all the jade amulets. I will identify them and I will check what they have. But I will not do that if I already have an amulet and I'm happy with it, and then I will pick up these jade amulets and do chaos recipe with them or something, right? So hopefully this has been helpful. I try to I'll put a link to the filter blade website as well, so that you can try the filter blade filters. I definitely recommend the semi-strict because it's very, very good. And if you want something even better than that, with like very specific like caster leveling help, then I have a loot filter on my Patreon. Thank you guys for watching and see you next time.